Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com. You're listening to Mornings of Lone Star here at Lone Star Community Radio, irlonestar.com, worldwide, and Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1. This is your host, Dick. If you're hearing my voice, you know what that means. That means we are live in the studio, and we're on our YouTube channel and Facebook channel because we have a special guest. I know I've talked about this event a lot, and there's an upcoming medieval combat, I guess competitive combat. I think it's a long name, but it's on. It's coming up this weekend on the 7th and 8th. And tickets are available, and I'm going to put links to it because we have one of the groups who compete, one of the clubs that competes in this tournament, is going to compete in this tournament. Right now, we have the Regulators Armored Combat Club in the studio. And guys, if you don't mind, just take a second, pull the mics a little closer to you. You got to talk in. This is a radio show. And just say your name and introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Brent Elrod. I'm the team captain of the Regulators, and glad to be here.
I'm Josh Martin. I go by Red in the sport, and I'm just one of the fighters.
All right, so we have Red and Brent, correct? I got all that right. And we've had several interesting people on the show, on the morning show, talking about the upcoming competition. And I believe it's called, what is it called? The American Medieval Combat Association. Federation. And this is the championship, the United States Championship. Correct. Which your guys are located in Conroe. There's a group I think we had on that was from Houston. I know there's several teams in Texas, but we also have other people from around the world that are not the world, the country, flying in and competing in this match. So this is an actual combat sport, guys. So if you're listening and you want to see some people hit each other, perfect time, 7th and 8th of December. $25 for the whole weekend, I think it is. It's crazy. So, and it's happening at the Lone Star Expo, which is I call it the barn. But it's not the convention center, it's the barn, which is right next to it. But a lot of people don't think that it's the same company or it's the fairgrounds, but people think, oh, that's over there, it's over here, that's on, that kind of thing. And you guys are competing in it, but you also are part of this club, which it's really interesting learning about it because this is such a niche thing that I have to know, how did y'all get involved? Let's start there because y'all are really hitting each other. You're wearing real armor, and y'all do 1 versus 1, 5. Actually, I think it's there's a lot of different ones. There's 5 versus 5. I heard 16 versus 16. Yes. Is there not a 15 versus 15?
They're 12 versus 12.
12 versus 12.
The biggest one we might be doing here in August will be anywhere from 100 versus 100 to 150 versus 150.
Okay.
That's the very last thing for fun in August.
That's for fun? Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
I haven't known one. The biggest
USA versus the international?
Is that what you got to bunch up a bunch of clubs together to get that many fighters? So a few countries on each side.
Yeah, we'll see how who they put with who.
It's going to be chaos.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I think that's what my mind hasn't been able to wrap around is the amount of people interested in the sport, because it is cool, but you're also competing with different other sports. But one thing I do like about what you guys have is y'all's age group is very wide. And a lot of times when it comes to sports, especially competitive sports, once you hit that 28-year-old mark, you're like, oh, I can't play soccer at a high level. I can't do this at a high level. It's like, no, I'm just going to get fat now. That kind of thing. I bowl, and somehow I lost weight. I don't get it. And all I do is drink beer and bowl. That's all I do.
We drink beer and fight.
So. Yeah, see, I wouldn't. I'm not very interested in doing what you guys do because I bruise easily, and but it's really cool to watch. I love watching people beat the crap out of each other, yeah. And I'm very big spectator sport in combat. I'm a spectator in the combat sport. So let's start with Red. Red, I want to know, did you? Because I think it was Cyrus was talking about he found this group on Facebook or the combat because he was looking for something to help him lose weight and kind of. Get him mobile, just moving around. He wanted to move around.
So for me, just before, because I moved to Texas about 3 years ago, so just before I moved, I was out here visiting a buddy of mine, and we were just flipping through YouTube, and it was actually Charlie from Dallas Warlords popped up in one of their international, the Buhurt competitions, and I was completely taken in by it. I've loved medieval stuff my whole life, and I was like, what is this? And then ended up putting it out of my mind, started getting fit on my own, and I moved to Texas, and I went to a brewery, and sure as shoot, they were San Jacinto Knights was there fighting, and I went and I bought a helmet from one of them that day.
Really?
And been fighting. I started fighting with them a couple years ago, and I went to my first tournament in Nevada about 6 months in, and then from there I've just been sticking with it, and then joined up with my buddies in the Regulators, and of course the Full Steel Combat Group, and then just kind of bounce around here and there wherever competition takes me or the fight, but mainly this is the area I stick around. So yeah, it was just saw it once and then saw it again and was like, this is it. I'm going to buy that helmet. And it's the same helmet I've been using, and it's beaten up good, but it's still hanging
people,
in there.
you get hit. You get hit. Like the weapons they have on the table that you can see, like those are real weapons. Like I bet you would get some looks walking down the street with that.
Yes.
And
this is actually a max weight axe, and it weighs 6 pounds.
6 pounds?
3,000 grams. Exactly.
Okay, let's go into that. So the rules, if people are interested, I'm going to link the Federation website. Is that like the best place to go to find like the rules? Because if people are interested,
for me, I just type in. I go to the Google search and type in International Medieval Combat Federation rules, and it'll take you straight to the rules.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was wondering, because I was like, there's so many little things that it's like in bowling, if you do anything that's a competitive tournament, there are some rules.
Yes.
And then if you go to a certain level, they'll like measure your ball.
Yeah.
And weigh your ball. And do things.
When we go to competitions, they'll check the length of the axe, the weight. They'll make sure everything is ready to go.
Yeah, like I found out I'm going to nationals at Baton Rouge, and they don't deduct points, but it's something about you get like a mark if all of you aren't wearing slacks.
Oh,
and I was like, I can't wear shorts. Like I bowl in shorts, dude. Like I don't own slacks. Like I have like, I even asked the guy, I have like the slacks I got married in that are like really nice. Like, do you wear the?
You can be the fanciest one.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was like. That's really
awesome.
Weird.
The year, when we went to Ireland, they were a little tougher on historical accuracy of some.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
And like they didn't like paint on the helmet, and like for instance, this falchion, they actually would like that because it's not connected. One of my guys had one that's connected. He bought it from Ukraine, for the sport, and we can use it in America. But they didn't like it, so we kind of went back and forth on it, and they agreed to let us put black tape so it would look like it was not connected for the crowd. And I'm like, okay, I don't know if the crowd would really recognize that, but
when I went to my first competition in Nevada, I remember just before I went, I was told, it was like, hey, you need to get the Sabatons. It's the foot armor we have.
Yeah.
Because if not, you'll start with like, I think it was a penalty or something. So I quickly went out, and my first pair of Sabatons actually was a costume pair, just because I needed something to wear.
When you say costume pair, you mean like you went to like Spirit Halloween?
I went to Spirit Halloween, and they were metal, and
really?
they worked, and I still have them.
They had them?
They had them, but they were flat. They're flat now.
I imagine.
So I ended up picking up a real pair right after that.
Well, I mean, I think that's what I like about what y'all do is people. You need to check out the YouTube videos of this, because they are really hitting each other. And I was thinking, the first design of full armor was like, I don't even know when, was it like 1700s or 1600s? Like the full.
Well, this armor's from the 1500s.
1500s.
Full plate armor and stuff. Prior to that, maybe, I don't know, I'm not the best. They started, maybe 1100s. They were using chainmail in the Western Europe.
Well, I mean, but like I'm thinking like today, y'all get inspiration. I was like, I bet some people make some incredible looking gear that's so functional because of the technology.
Yes, but it's still very much historically accurate.
So
our stuff's a little oversized.
So is that
for protection?
Yeah, well, that's what I was wondering. It was like, is the historical aspect of the combat sport? It was like rule number one. Is that what you're shooting for, or is it? Because to me, I'm like, if I want to let some guy hit me a bunch of times, I want to have the best type of armor
protection,
on,
yes.
while I can be mobile and visual. I can see my visibility's got to be good. Because like I look at that helmet. And I'm like, man, that looks so old school cool. But imagine if, like, Tony Stark was entering into the tournament, and like what would he build, and
Yeah,
what would it look
he
like?
would have to stay historically accurate.
So you do. So that is a goal of the sport.
It's a modern combat sport, but we do 15th century is
well, medieval's in the name, so I guess that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Within a modern thing we actually do use within the helmet is concussion padding.
Yeah.
We do put it all up inside. I use double thick.
Well, yeah. No, I mean, I imagine there are some, like, especially the undergarment stuff, but it's just like when you look at it, it does look like knights fighting.
Yes.
But I was wondering, I was like, there's got to be some dude who knows who's like a modern age blacksmith is like, I'm going to make the best armor for like this sport because I know the new technology, the new angles, and the new metals, and you know what I'm talking about? It's like, I can make it actually like work better in the sport. And that one guy comes in and has it, and he's just dominating because he's got the coolest.
Yeah, I haven't seen that yet, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I was just curious.
All our armor is definitely in the same range when you buy it from Quality Armors. There's some guys, who they buy budget armors, and it could cost you later. So I always tell people like,
well, that's what I'm saying. You get hit in like you're getting hit.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, all right, how much? Well, just to be generous with this, you don't have to scare people away. But I am, in my mind, a full suit of like well-made armor that's for you, not like you're trading.
Yep.
Like I'm talking full suit.
That's how mine was.
I would have to guess it's got to be like $3,000.
You're right at it. 2,500.
Yeah,
$3,000.
Yeah.
My first real full suit that was built to me was 2,500. My initial patchwork suit that I put together was about $900 total of just scavenged gear from this person and that person. And I actually,
and that's what I understand about the community too. That's the positive aspect of the community. People will help you because they want you to participate.
Yeah.
And it's like, here, you have these gloves that are 4 times too big. Good luck. But then you'll learn like that's the first move I need to make right there is get new gloves.
We have a loaner kit that's kind of like that set of gear you put on and go, wow, this fits horribly. That's the purpose. So you can outbuy your own kit.
Well, especially when I imagine like training, because you guys train, and when I put my quotes up, like there's gyms, like we learned about the gym in Houston, but you guys yourselves up in Conroe meet up very often, and y'all train, and there's different training methods with it, but it's not the real thing.
Oh, well, no, we train. So that was.
Well, I meant more of like I don't think Red's coming at you 100%.
It depends on what we're trying to get.
Unless
that day.
you piss them off, I guess.
Yeah, we train at my ranch outside.
Yeah,
and we want our training to be very effective because we're only getting together once a week.
Yeah,
and there's soft kit training and hard kit training. Hard kits, you put on all your armor and you go at it. For probably the first 2.5 years, we only did even maybe 3 years. We only did hard kit training. We just recently started doing soft kit training. Because everybody just wanted to armor up and fight every time. No one really wanted to go.
We actually train, because I mean, I imagine like especially coming up on the 7th and 8th, that's for the championships.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's going to be there's something on the line worth fighting for.
Absolutely.
So when you're training, it's like, all right, we're just going to do push-ups and full armor and just wait until we pass out. That way we can wear this armor.
No, that's not what you do at your home.
Yeah.
When we get together at the minimal, if we do a soft kit, kind of like we did a soft kit last night, and for the fighters coming up, we only talked about our techniques and our team. We had 3 new guys out, so we let them borrow our kits, and we armored them up and kind of helped them and still talked about what we had coming. Because we still have to fight this weekend at the Renaissance Festival, and so we're going to get our full kit training on 3 days this weekend.
Yeah, when you're on your own, what I like to do is I go jogging in my helmet to get used to the breathing.
I believe it.
Within it, getting used to the weight of the helmet and the brig is probably, in my opinion, the most jarring thing when you first join, because your head is always wanting to fall forward, your back to the sides. But yeah, learning to breathe with that helmet on, or a mouth guard if you wear it, is one of those big things. Because when you're fighting fight after fight, I mean, you're gassing yourself. So you got to be able to control that breathing and take in.
What's the longest fight? Is it the 16-16?
No. So the longest fight I've been in. So a lot of our fights, they could be under easily around a minute to 2 minutes. We were fighting at Huntsville we do an all versus all, which is the tournaments. They don't do all versus all, but for our shows we do an all versus all. So we do a team fight, then we do duels, and we all come together for an all versus all, and that's like a 20-minute event. But we got caught in an all versus all, and then the weather was nice, and like I said, generally they're over in a minute to 2. This one went 5 minutes, 18 seconds, and I was the second fighter up. And I just remember, like, I am so tired. And I just got this 6-pound axe, and so it's 2 pounds heavier than I'm used to. And going in that 4-minute mark, I was like, man, this thing is killing me.
Well, that's what I mean. It's funny to watch the YouTube of you guys because no one really knows, I guess, the weight of the armor. And when, like, I remember we were watching one, and it's like there's like a guy in the background that's like shuffling, and I'm like, why is he shuffling? Like, wait, it's like I think it was like a 5 versus 5 or 10 versus 10. So there's a lot of crazy stuff going on. But there's this giant dude in the middle, just shuffling. Like slowly walking forward, and I was like, "Is this like a decoy thing, or like what's the strategy there?" And then what I love is like right when you got up to 2 people, he just pushed the dude over, and I was like, "Oh, okay, well that worked, I guess." Because like the rules, from what I understand, is in the 5 versus 5 and up, it's all about if your opponent's on the ground, he's out, and if you fall pushing someone down, but you don't like completely flat out, you get like say like you land on your hands.
On their body, if your hands are on their body, you can push back up real fast, like your knee didn't hit. It's generally 3 points of contact.
Yeah.
Body surfing.
And you were talking about that speed of that one guy. So for our team, I'm a little older. I might not be the fastest anymore. So we look at who's our faster guys, who's our slower guys, and kind of build our strategy around that too.
Oh, well, that's what I'm saying is like watching a football game.
Yeah,
You're sitting there going like, oh, they're actually moving around and doing stuff. Like, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, again, the whole point of the 5 versus 5 or up is you just have to knock them down. That's really all you got to do. So, like, I saw one guy sacrifice himself because it was 3 versus 1, and he's like, screw it, guys, I'll just...
Ends the fight.
And he just jumps on the dude. It's just like, what are you going to do?
Right. So, we want to end that fight as soon as possible because you're going to have to get up and fight again.
Oh, yeah. So, so it's around $3,000 for armor. I was wondering that. And then you guys, the network, I imagine, is a lot of fun. Because, like you said, you fly to Ireland or you're flying to Hungary or wherever. Now it's in Conroe. And so you're like, oh, hell yeah, I don't have to fly anywhere.
When I found out I was in Conroe, I about fell on my chair. I was like, what? I just drove to Kansas City last year for this. With me and my son fights, too. We drove together. We joined a mercenary team. We didn't even have the Regulators fighting as a team yet. So we just joined the New York Sentinels for the fight in Kansas City last year. We drove all the way up there, I fought duels and team melees. I wanted to see what it was like. Big mistake doing that much fighting in one day. And then the next day we drove back. I was so sore, and I was like, man, I don't know where we're going to have to drive next year. Then I found out, it's 10 minutes from my house.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Well, let's remind folks, tickets are available in the link below. It's happening on the 7th and 8th, I believe. The 8th. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Saturday and Sunday. And it's full combat. So I think if you go to the website, they'll tell you what days or what.
Yeah, it's around noon. Be there around noon.
Yeah, noon both days.
Noon to 5 or 6. There's vendors outside too.
Yeah,
Saturday's
food trucks, I think.
Saturday, be there like if you can. The melees are on Saturday to 5 versus 5, and then there's duels a little bit.
How many
that.
people do you think are actually participating in this week?
Around 200.
Around 200?
Yeah, around 200 nights.
Dude.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So it's quite a few.
Yeah,
and getting to meet all the different people as you meet them around the world, different friendships and connections you make really opens it up to, new opportunities, new experiences.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're talking to a guy who got into bowling like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And now I'm like in it.
Yeah.
I'm doing tournaments. I'm bowling on Thanksgiving days. Like every holiday, I'm like, I'm gonna go bowl. I'm not gonna hate my family.
Yeah, the Irish team out of Galway, they told me, they're like, if your team can't make it back, just come on out here, fight with us. We'll let you merc with us. I was like, oh, great, perfect.
Yeah. Do you get a cool mark on your helmet as a merc? I feel like they should brand you like Sauron brands.
I think there's actually a shop on Etsy that makes merc stuff that you can wear, like belt flags and T-shirts and stuff like that.
That's how you know.
You gotta be kind of brave to go be a merc because you're fighting with guys you don't really know and stuff.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's the penalty.
Yeah,
you're a merc.
With New York Sentinels of all. I mean, I'm from Texas, East Texas.
Yeah.
Now I'm fighting with the New York team. We had a blast. They were great guys. That's really why we got into the. Well, I mean, that wasn't what got us to the term aspect, but that's the benefit we found was the social network.
Yeah.
With our small group, we were very good friends. But we fight each other all the time, and it's a very small group.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, you need to have that experience, and it's really hard to get that experience because it's like you got to fly to Ireland for those moments, and you're like, all right, because that's what I was describing in the hockey world in Texas. It was like, who plays hockey? So, like, to get experience or get any ice time is so limited, opposed to if I lived in, Canada during all the winters, and it's like I can just go across the street to the pond
It's really cool. The people you get to meet, the different things they can show you too. When I was in Nevada a couple of years ago 3 years ago for my first tournament, after the first day, I was in the arena. Everybody had pretty much gone back to the hotel, and I was practicing longsword because I signed up for the duels. I'd never done it before, and I was a little nervous.
Yeah.
And this gentleman, Jay, he's from the Executioners, and he came up and was giving me tips and tricks on how to be a better duelist with it, and I put some of them to use. Did not end up winning anything with the longsword, but when I went the sword and shield later, some of those same tricks still helped, and I was able to pull a medal out of that. So, and just everybody has been taught a lot of the same skills, but sometimes a little bit differently. And, broadening your knowledge with these different fighters really helps make you an overall better fighter.
So is there like a division for, say, like the 6-pound axe?
No, there is.
We're not getting that
division.
small. Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
There's
Like,
a dueling division, and there are duels for International Medieval Combat Federation. They do longsword duels. They do a sword and board. It's a shield and a sword.
Yeah.
And then they do a polearm duel, and they have a really cool one. It's a buckler and a falchion. I like that one because it goes really fast. It's like 5 points and it's over. It could be over in like 10 seconds. But the other ones, the sword and shield, the polearm, which is a bigger axe than this.
Yeah.
Those are 1 minute rounds, and they go points, but they're still hitting each other hard because you want it messes up your opponent, and if you do put your opponent down, or it can be a point as well. We did talk about the aspect of if you're on the ground in the melees, that ends the fight. The big thing too that could be a problem is armor failures. Like if your armor's not tied right or something gets broken, they'll pull you out of the fight, and it's the same as getting taken out. So we have to really make sure our armor fits and our squires are tying our gear appropriately. I've had so many shoulders come loose in a fight, and sometimes the referee will call me out and the strings are busted or it wasn't tied right. Or in one case, the referee didn't see it, and I got nailed in the back, and it left a pretty good mark on my back. So I was like, I don't think there's something going on right back there because it hurt. I was like,
people are swinging.
Yeah.
They're swinging, man.
Yeah.
Getting gapped is not a good time.
Yeah,
No,
that's
it's
funny.
horrible.
And so I want to remind folks, you guys are here. The Regulators Armored Combat Club is in Conroe. So if people are interested in just checking you guys out, because y'all get together like once a week or so.
Yeah.
So where can they find you? I put your Facebook group in there. Is that the best way?
Yeah, reach out to us on Facebook. I'll check the page. Come watch us at the Texas Renaissance Festival.
That's part of your, because it's so weird how there's so many dynamics to this combat sport, because like you guys do TRF and you're part of the show.
Yes.
Like you're in the middle of the ring and y'all do the full combat.
Correct.
But you also go to other shows too.
Yeah, Comapalooza. One of my coolest. I like the experiences we get and the different shows we get to go to. Like for me, going to Austin and fighting in the HEB Stadium, for the Texas Stars hockey game. At the end of the first period, the end of the second period, me and a friend got to walk the red carpet on ice to go to the center of that stadium. As I'm looking at myself on the jumbotron, I'm like, oh man, this is crazy.
It's cool.
Yeah, and
That's
we
cool.
commenced to beating each other.
Are the Stars still even there?
Yes.
I hope they are.
Yeah, well, we should be there in January.
Really?
Yeah, they do like a little Renaissance Festival theme thing, and that's when we get invited.
In January?
Renaissance like vendors and things.
That's cool.
I mean, even being in that arena at TRF, Texas Ren Fair, when the stadium is full and you got all the seats are filled and people are standing and watching, and the crowd, it's great.
And they have no idea it's real.
Oh yeah,
they probably think
There's
it's part
shocks
of the show.
Sometimes it's like complete shock.
When we go up and talk to them after the show, they're like, so is this stage? We're like, no, it's not.
I wanted to kill that guy.
Yeah, my armor is actually broken right now. That's why it's hanging off. I didn't just unstrap it. The shoulder is completely busted.
Oh, you don't have the razor blades?
Yeah.
Some people can't mentally process that we're actually doing it and it's actually legal. And I'm like, yeah, no, it's very legal, and we're actually doing it. Like, we'd be the best choreographers in the world if we could pull off a show that well and then the next one be completely different. Like, our shows always look different because we're out there fighting to win every time.
Yeah.
That's fun. Well, let me ask you that, because in the sport, like you said, you have the American Combat Federation.
American Medieval Combat
and there's basically two organizations in the United States that are kind of like the NFL and the AFL when that was going on, right?
Well,
kind of, or
we don't really they're two kind of separate organizations, and we don't really do tournaments together. They're just they do their own thing. I think
is that because it's like a completely different style of sport? Because like when I was talking to Taylor, like he does like the MMA stuff in armor.
MMA, yeah, that's like,
so that's not technically American combat, medieval combat, but
Federation,
but it's like it has its own audience.
Like we have Full Steel Combat. AMMA is a separate business.
Yeah,
it's built around kind of MMA rules with an octagon.
Yeah, they just go at it, dude. They just, I mean,
that's why he's got his crown now.
Well, it's crazy. They just had a UFC fighter going it. But I actually have a veteran UFC fighter on my team. He's sadly not going to be at the competition, but he's like a good friend of mine. I met him at the Renaissance Festival.
Well, it takes a special person to put that armor on and
it really
want to, and then get organized with it. Like you can tell someone, "Hey, put this on and go swing," but then it's like, "Hey, you need to start working out. We need to start working on some strategies. We want to win this competition."
It takes it to the next level.
Yeah. So is there like a Michael Jordan so far of this sport? Or is it you? Or is it like one of you guys?
That's me. No,
there's a number of really good fighters. I mean, I feel like
I imagine there's the guy who's been doing it the longest, but then it's also like the sport is probably quickly evolving every year because you're getting new people interested, and the internet's a beautiful thing. They'll see, like you're telling me about a video of an axe getting stuck in your head, and that's like, I bet people are loving that.
And it's working on 8 million views right now.
Yeah,
so I know
people
for axe getting caught in the side of my helmet. Fortunately, it didn't hurt me or actually penetrate. I had a different helmet. It got caught in the top of my face mask. But when people said there's an axe in your head, I was really stunned for a second. I thought,
here we go. Well, we know, Brent. You were like, this is the way I wanted to go.
That's it.
This is exactly how I wanted to go.
That was actually the first fight my brother saw, and he turned to me and he's like, "This is what you do?" I was like, "Yep, that's what I do."
Oh, I bet you felt so tough.
He'll probably be okay.
See, I'm more of a bow and arrow kind of guy when it comes to medieval combat.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll just stick around and just hang right here, guys. But no, I think that's really interesting to me because there is a competitive side to it, meaning there's tier system and there's always a guy who wins. Mm-hmm. Because, like for example, if folks don't know, on the 7th and 8th, this is the USA Championships. So these are the teams competing in the international competition, which is actually being held here in Conroe, I believe in August. I want to say August, but
absolutely August.
Yep. So it's like this is a big deal, and you'll have like the highest competitors come to this one.
All from Europe coming to us this time. We usually go over there, right?
Yeah.
We went to Ireland. That was my first.
Well, that's where all the medieval combat really took place, really.
Right. Yeah, we stayed in a castle, fought on the castle grounds. That was really incredible. Versus fighting out my.
I feel really do a 150 to 150. I want to that's a drone thing.
Right.
So we've never done it. We're looking forward to it. So prior to this, we've done our 5v5s, but we went to Ireland at the end. After we did all the 5v5s, they were doing the 12s, and so we joined with an Irish team. They said, "Oh, you can be the captain." I'm like, "Sounds great." I'm like, I got out there and I quickly realized I don't really understand 12 versus 12. It was so different.
Yeah.
And so we fought the very last show of the day, and everybody decided to just throw tactics out the window and go straight up medieval. We did. We're going to charge. Other team decided we're going to charge. And all of a sudden they said go, and everybody came running. The referee drops the flag, shoots out the side of the cage. He's like, that's the craziest thing I've ever seen. And we just crashed. I don't even think that fight lasted 35, 40 seconds.
I got checked so hard. I actually got knocked off my feet. My helmet flew off mostly, except for the Simon strap on the back here, wherever it is that holds onto the back of your armor. So it went up because my chin strap snapped and came back down. Wow. And I hit the ground. And the guy who hit me then stood over me to make sure that my helmet came back on. And then he was like, "Are you good?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Okay." And he ran off and tackled somebody else. That was from another American team, but my gosh!
I thought he was gonna call you a Yankee or something.
They had two very veteran UK teams there, and they were really good guys. That's where Australian. He was fine with them, and they had a lot of good people. But like I said, the 12v12 was so different.
Yeah,
and I was like, "Well, I'm the captain. I'll be in the center. I'm just going. You two guys try and stay with me." And we hit the center of the line. I got through somehow by myself, and then I was quickly surrounded by a couple guys. So. It was fun, though. I'm looking forward to this 100 versus 100 or whatever. Anybody in Conroe, you got to come see this thing in December.
Well, that's what I'm trying to tell people. It's like you're never going to see anything like this ever in your life because they're wearing medieval armor and they're hitting each other as hard as they can. And so Because I mean, I'm a big fan. Like I said, I've seen boxing. I went to boxing. I went to UFC in Houston, and I've seen amateur stuff's my favorite because you never know what's going to happen with that stuff because they still cheat. Yeah. So it's like you always try to keep it. I always love it when I see like a headbutt or I see under the belt. I'm like, oh, look at that, you got away with it. They'll never do that on like televised stuff.
So if these tickets for the people,
like
it's going to be so much cheaper to go into the movie. You go see something real and unique and
it's all day.
Like kid tickets are like $8 for 12 and up and free underneath.
Isn't it, I remember you saying there was not like a partnership, but y'all were doing some of the Renfest.
Yeah, we have a promo code. We were passing out
code,
Renfest,
so it's still eligible, even though the Renfest is technically over.
Well, so TRF 24.
So they type in TRF 24, they'll get a discount
Absolutely.
on this event, this weekend's event.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very veteran friendly. I'm a veteran, so there's a lot of veterans in the sport. Everybody who comes out loves it. The worst critique I get is, "Oh, it's so violent, I can't watch it again."
I mean, it is, but it isn't. Mainly because you're taking a beating, but you're wearing armor.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, these guys they're not fighting to the death. So it's like, let's calm down. But hey, his finger might be broken.
Yeah. I think it's the sound because it sounds very loud.
That's one I can't wait. That's what I'm looking forward to.
The clash is intense out there. So the closer you can sit to the front, do it.
Well, I was telling, I think it was Taylor. I was watching a 10 vs 10, and there's this little guy just sitting there swinging this guy's back over and over about 6 times, and you realize this isn't doing anything, and so he just left. And I'm just like, I can imagine just having that on. I would, if I was that guy's buddy, I would have filmed that. I'd be like, "Look how weak you are, dude! You're over here just chopping a tree, and the tree ain't falling down."
Especially if you're hitting the same place over and over.
Yeah.
So sometimes especially we're fighting these tournaments, we know where the gaps in armor are.
Yeah.
And people will target those gaps. I think I was talking to you
believe
about armor for your rear end.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't have armor on the rear end until they get hit one good time. Then they go get armor for the rear end.
That's what it's a learning process, and that's what's wonderful about it. That's why y'all train. So let's give another shout out to the Regulators here in Conroe. I have y'all's Facebook group in the description. I also have where you can get tickets for the weekend's event, and TRF 24 is a discount code for the public. So that's pretty cool. And then Brent, Red, thank you so much for coming in and being on the show with me and hanging out.
Thanks for having me.
I'm interested. I can't wait. One thing I do want to remind folks is if you can't make it, August they'll be returning.
The Worlds, yeah.
And the Worlds would be taking place. And then also they live stream it, from what I understand. Mm-hmm. So if you really want to see something, you want to check it out, it's live streamed. So there we go. We're going to get back to the regular programming here on Mornings of Lone Star. You've been listening to IRLoneStar.com worldwide and Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1. Want to remind folks we are a nonprofit, so feel free to donate or sponsor today or be a guest. We don't charge for on-air appearances because we love the community. Just visit IRLoneStar.com or visit our social media, this Lone Star Community Radio, blah, blah, blah. We're going to get back to the music, and we'll check you later.